Hello, my name is Jerry Bossung. I was commissioned by a not-for-profit organization here in St. Louis, Missouri called Brightside St. Louis to build and burn what's called a solitary bee house. They are located at the corner of Kingshighway and Southwest Avenue across the street from the old Southwest Bank. Brightside St. Louis has a beautiful educational community garden at that intersection. It's filled with plants and flowers native to Missouri, along with information and examples of how to create an eco-friendly garden of your own in your neighborhood or yard. If you get a chance, you really need to go by there and check it out. It's a beautiful garden. Anyway, Mary Lou with Brightside St. Louis approached me regarding creating what is called a solitary bee house for this garden. It had been a dream of theirs for many years to get a solitary bee house for their garden, but up until this time they had been unsuccessful at doing so. So when I was offered this opportunity, it was a no-brainer. I decided to take on this project even though I had never even heard of a solitary bee house. I'm not a carpenter, that's for sure, but I am a wood burner, and I was excited and blessed actually to be given this opportunity to create this unique piece of functional art. I'm going to go ahead and spin it around here for you, get a view of it. It's 2 feet wide, 3 feet tall, and 1 foot deep. So anyway, all I had to go off of was a picture of a solitary bee house someone had created up in Ontario, Canada. So I took that picture and created what you see here. I'm pleased at how it turned out, and I'm looking forward to it being installed and put to use. This is a functional bee house that it will allow people to come up to it and actually look inside the bee's home, thanks to the doors I've placed on either side of the bee house, which will allow a side view of their actual tunnels. Give you a view of that. I just routed out the holes and put a piece of, acrylic over it, which is fairly cheap, and anyway, so you'll be able to get a side view of inside their tunnels. What else? So I made 2 different size holes for the bees, a 3/8 inch hole, which is 5 to 6 inches deep, and also a 3/32 hole, which is 3 to 4 inches deep. The holes need to be smooth on the inside so the bees will not damage their wings, and I also widen the entrance slightly to offer a smoother entry and exit. Each bee lives in its own tunnel. The female bee will go inside of it and lay an egg. Then she will stuff nectar and pollen into that tunnel, lay another egg, put another section of nectar and pollen, and do that over and over again. Once she has completed that task, she will close it up with mud to protect her eggs. So if you're going to make your own solitary bee house, there needs to be a clay/mud supply within approximately 300 feet or a football field from the bee house. Also, I want to emphasize this: you do not need to have anything this elaborate or extravagant set up. Just this upper section here, hanging on a fence facing either east or southeast will do. It needs to be in direct sunlight. It will need to be replaced every year or 2 because bees also have enemies that will invade their home, lay eggs which will then hatch and eat the eggs, larvae, etc. of the bees themselves. So one other thing I forgot to mention is that one of the amazing things about solitary bees, the female bee who's laying the eggs, actually knows which eggs have male bees inside and which eggs have female bees inside. And because the male bees are born approximately 2 weeks before the female bees, she places the females in the back of the tunnel and the males in the front of the tunnel, so they will not disturb the unborn bees. Brightside St. Louis is going to install another great feature in this solitary bee house. They're going to install an audio system inside, which will allow you to plug in a set of headphones and actually listen to the bee activity inside this house. So because they're going to need access inside of this bee house from time to time, I had to leave the screw heads exposed when I built this. But what I did to disguise them was kind of hide them in plain sight by incorporating them into the burning artwork, such as the tree bark design you see here. There's a few of the screw heads. Also here as well in this flowery vine pattern I burned. So there you have it. I've been blessed with this artistic talent from my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I do hope at some point that He will bless me and I will be able to make a living burning art into wood. On that note, I'm going to sign off, but I'm going to bring the camera in closer to give you a close-up of the burned art, or pyrography as it is also called. Just a little bit of information on wood burning. Wood burning has been around for thousands of years and has been traced back to Africa and its origin. Anyway, thanks for looking, and if you get a chance, please stop by Brightside St. Louis's Educational Community Garden at the corner of Kingshighway and Southwest Avenue. I'm hoping this solitary bee house will be up and running by the end of June. I'll keep you posted. Thanks for looking. And by the way, if you look through my photos on Facebook, I will also be putting up some of my other wood burning art I've done. I love the texture I put on this flower. It really turned out well. A little bit of information on solitary bees. They're non-aggressive. They do not swarm. They do not live in a colony. They do not have a queen. They do not make honey or wax. Solitary bees are great at pollinating plants and flowers. A single solitary mason bee is equivalent to 120 worker honeybees in the pollination they provide. Again, I love my tree bark pattern I came up with. Nature is beautiful.